So I am here with now I have this thing in my head that I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, but Eric Dunavant, right?
That's right.
I do.
That's
Okay,
good.
perfect. And he is the CEO of Paradiem. And I'm actually not going to read through your whole background. It's pretty impressive. You definitely want to check it out. But he's written an article for us with the title of "What If We've Been Doing It All Wrong," which is also the title of your book, right?
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
Perfect. And I'm just so honored to be talking with you today. And you know, this article that you've written is an excellent introduction
Thank
for
you.
our readers. Um, and where are you calling in from today, by the way?
So I live just north of New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's where I am today. Much like a lot of people out there, I imagine I do. I do a lot of business all over the country. So yesterday I was in Indianapolis. The day before I was in Dallas. I'm home today. That's good. It's good to be home. Good to
That's
be
good.
home.
It's good to, yeah, get that centering, right?
It is. It is. Come back and recharge, as my wife says.
Well, excellent. Well, how about we talk a little bit about why you chose that title for the
Yeah.
article and for the name of your book?
Yeah. So here's kind of in the article, I tell a little bit of the story, but I had an experience with a family that we worked with that multi-generational wealth who had inherited quite a bit of wealth, and the wealth was still coming in and continuing to grow just through some decisions that the family had made. And really what kind of hit me was this entire concept, and we see this. I'm not going to tell your readers anything new, but what we really see is this whole idea that the majority of the industry is so focused on the money. What are we going to do with the money? How are we going to handle the money? And when you look at the failure inside of families, it has very little to do with what we're doing with the money. So the idea of the article, the idea of the book really comes down to kind of one central question. What are the questions we're asking? Are we asking the right question? So what if we've been doing it all wrong? Is what if the approach that we've been taking, what if the way that we've been thinking about asking questions, what if even the answers we've been asking people to give us are leading us to lead people in the wrong direction? And so what if we changed the way that we thought about it? What if we took a step back and said, wait a minute, if we want different answers, then maybe we need to ask different questions. So let's start with different questions and see where we might be able to help the families end up. So let's ask questions about family relationships. Let's ask questions. I will tell you, this is one thing, and not everyone's going to agree with this, but it's just a bias that I have. I've never seen anyone define success by how high and how wide you piled your wealth, other than on a long-term basis, right? So on a short-term basis, Forbes measures this and everyone, okay, so I get it. So on a temporary basis, we're measuring this, but that's not any measurement that shows a quality of life. It's not any measurement that shows you how successful you are in your relationship with your kids or what a difference you're making in a community. I mean, in a sense, we've created a measurement that doesn't measure anything that matters.
Well, I mean, this is really interesting because you talk about these 5 points to reevaluate your life. And one of the points you have, so I love this point, it's number 2. You say, what if I should set a finish line for my net worth? Which is so interesting because I think people, it's just the idea of just keep going and make as much money as you possibly can. And that idea of setting a finish line is, is not very American, I guess. Or,
Not at all.
Very, very entrepreneurial. But how did you come up with that particular question?
Well, so there's nothing new under the sun. It's not original to me. I had a gentleman who was in this kind of space for about 30 plus years and mentored me. And he brought me along and kind of showed me that. And it really, so I carry a very strong Christian faith and kind of this idea that it's not just about today, right? It's about what we're doing to make a difference, in my view, for eternity. And so there's a lot built inside of the Christian faith, even in itself, that talks about not thinking about what you're doing today, but thinking about what you're doing for the long term. But carry faith, don't carry a faith from one standpoint. I think it's a great question to begin with, as I said, because at the end of the day, as you have more, what does it give you? I give you a great story of something that we ran into, because a lot of times the role that we will play is we'll come alongside existing advisors, right? So we were working on a plan for a client up north who sold the business in the last year. And he had a really, really generous heart and excited about philanthropy and giving money away and engaging his family to help him do that. We'll talk, I think that's one of your questions. We'll talk a little bit more about getting the family engaged and using philanthropy to do that. That's all the stuff that got him excited. And we put together a plan and put it in front of his advisor and his money manager. And he's like, this plan won't work. It's like, okay, so our team has run the cash flows. I've seen everything. I've looked at the taxes. Tell me why it won't work. He goes, well, his balance sheet goes down every year. He's going down in value. It's like, okay, well, let's take a step back. This is how much he wants to spend. This is how much he wants to leave to his kids, and he wants to give the rest away. And he wants to do it while he's alive. So his goal is to give money away while he's living, get his kids engaged in that. He's excited about that. The plan doesn't come anywhere close to him running out of money. I mean, he's down less than he had when we started. But he goes, yeah, but it won't work. And he could not get his head wrapped around it, because the mindset is, we just got to build it bigger and bigger and wider and wider. And we think so much on a temporary basis rather than on this longer term perspective. And even if I have more and better, what difference is that going to make? Again, if I haven't prepared my family for it well, or if my relationships aren't good. So I had the biggest, widest pile, and I left behind a lot of arguing and, discontented people. What a terrible measurement.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Financial advising, traditional wealth managers will try to maintain that money. Sometimes they'll try to divide it too, equally and not have the family work with each other. But whatever that process is, it's trying to maintain that money. What do you think is sort of the biggest paradigm shift that people need to make when they are planning for the future?
Well, it really sits inside of this idea of everything. Life is short and it's going to go fast. And what are the things, and as we get older, we realize that, right? I turned 47 tomorrow. It came a lot faster than I expected, especially when I hit 40. I told one of my friends yesterday, I said, man, we've rolled over now. We're closer to 50 than we are to 40. When did this happen? And it came fast, and the rest of life comes fast. And so I've got to shift my paradigm to realize life is fast, because when I realize how fast life goes like that, then what I can realize is, because if the rest of the world is talking to me about piling this up, maybe I should shift my perspective. Again, maybe I've been doing this wrong and I've been thinking about this wrong. And if that's the case, then what are the things that are important? So taking a step back. And I think that's one of the things I cannot tell you how excited I am, to know people like you and to see other people that are championing this inside of the industry, because there's such a wave of momentum against, that's all about the money side of this and not so much about the family and the legacy and the stories of what's going to be done. Every time I can meet someone that champions this idea, it excites me because I like to say there's so much work to be done. We could never do it all. So to find more people who are excited about that. And one of the things I like to say about the book is, I think it applies to families. But if I were to say that when I wrote the book, I really thought I was writing this for families. And I'm going to tell you, the more that I've kind of reflected on it, I think I've been writing it for the industry. Because the people in the industry are the people who are going to be able to help people if the people in the industry have the paradigm shift, if we're the ones who start with the paradigm shift, I can go out and I can affect one family, but if I affect 10 advisors who are in this space, then how many families do I affect then? It's astronomical, right? I mean, the multiplication model on that is huge. So, I think it starts right here. I think it starts inside of us, inside of the industry, but we've really got to kind of get to this point of going, it's not about the short term. And I'll give you a little bit of a perspective on something that I'm going to give you real world story, because I think this is important. Go back to the example of the advisor who said, oh my goodness, the balance sheet is going down. Can I tell you, for the last, I've been doing this for almost 10 years. My mentor did this for over 30 years. So he had 40 plus years of experience on kind of working in the space and helping families. And all the plans that we have on paper initially were designed to show families balance sheets going down. Can I tell you, it's never happened? Meaning when they get generous, it's like, you know, I would say that God continues to bless them, or you say the universe blesses them or whatever, however you do that. But I mean, it's like blessings start to come in to the point of I've got story after story after story of people who've given away what their net worth was when we started and are worth more today than when we started working with them. And the generosity component inside of that. So it's like we look so short term, and that's another element of that paradigm shift is, are you thinking so short term that you don't even leave the opportunity for an extra blessing or something outside of your expectations to happen that would maybe not cause the result of what you see on paper to be reality?
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, actually, that you've actually witnessed that and seen that effect.
It's so common, we kind of have stopped laughing about it.
Yeah. Interesting. So, you know, you're obviously really into this idea of generosity and that being a part of your legacy.
Yep.
Why, you know, there's that idea of, you know, what you give returns back to you in blessings or whatever else. But
Yep.
Why do you think that generosity component is so important for leaving a legacy that lasts?
Because at the end of the day, really, I think we're all guilty, especially in the United States, of thinking only about ourselves. I mean, I don't know if you've seen these statistics or looked at this, but I mean, if you go and look at the suicide rates inside of the United States of America versus all the impoverished countries that are out there.
It's growing too. It's scary.
No, it is, right? But
yeah.
If you go to poverty, suicide, you go to places of poverty, suicide is not a problem.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Well, because their focus is on different things. And so when we're talking about leaving a legacy, in one sense, they have it right because their focus isn't on the money. So what can we do as a family to build our legacy that turns our focus from the money or our stuff to something else? And generosity for me has been the greatest teacher in doing that. We had the opportunity, so this will be year 7. So every year over Memorial Day, we take a group down to Mexico to build a house for 3 days. We sleep on the ground. We use pit toilets.
And is this you? Who is this? You and your family, or?
Yeah, so this is me and my family, and we invite anybody who wants to come.
Nice. Your kids, how old are your kids?
So I've got a 17-year-old son, a 15-year-old son, and a 12-year-old daughter.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, but this will be year 7. So 7 years ago, what was going on and what led up to what I'm talking about is I looked around and I'm like, man, my kids are content and they don't know what poverty looks like. And and the comment was, we all need a little disruption. We just need to be interrupted from our daily patterns and see something outside of ourselves. And if you'll let me tell you this little story, it was really crazy. So I took about 3 weeks off. And we drove from New Orleans all the way out to San Diego, and we did everything you could do between here and there. You know, Carlsbad Caverns, Petrified Forest, Grand Canyon, went to LA, went to Disneyland, went to Legoland, went to SeaWorld, went to the zoo. We did all that. The last 3 days of the trip before we came home, we went down to Mexico and built a house. We came back home and the light bulb went off when we got home. Because I had spent 3 weeks with my kids and built all those memories, which were wonderful. And anyone who would ask them, what did you do this summer? All they could talk about was going to Mexico and building a house and what they saw.
Wow.
And it was like, wow, the generosity, the experience of generosity, of giving back and seeing that not everyone is blessed like we are. Not everyone has what we have. Changed their perspective and changed their world, even to the point, like my 17-year-old, it was really kind of funny. He was having a bad day the other day, and he just looked up. He's like, I just need to go to Mexico for a few days. And it's something about that that's just a recharge.
Doesn't that kind of warm your heart as a parent to know that your son?
Well, but you know what? The other thing it does is it goes, you know what? I need to go to Mexico too.
Right.
I need to go sleep on the hard ground and take a bucket shower and, be uncomfortable for a few days because I'm complaining about traffic, or, that it's taking too long to download a video. Just the ridiculous stuff that at the end of the day doesn't make a difference. And yeah, it's just, and, we've seen it, and there's financial generosity and things like that, but it's so much of what generosity does is turns the focus outside of yourself. And the minute you get outside of yourself, there's something that starts to magically happen where families come together over a common cause, right? It's the unity that's been created inside of our family towards that common cause. And so whether you're giving dollars, or whether you're giving time, or whether you're having an experience together, I just believe and experienced for myself that generosity is the easiest path of anything that we have at our fingertips.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for sharing your point of view. And so when you work with clients, what are you providing for them? Do you do the philanthropic structuring as well as the financial and the family legacy side, or how do you work with families?
Yeah, so the way that we describe that there are 3 legs of the legacy stool. So we believe that each family needs to consider how they're going to leave their faith legacy, their family legacy, and their financial legacy. But when you go back to what if we've been doing it all wrong, what really kind of changed the dynamic, and as I met my mentor and got me excited about what we do, is we spend a whole lot of time up front talking about the faith and family legacies and what they want those to look like. And we do ask questions, like I said, so what if there's a finish line for you and you considered that there's a point? You go, you know what, this is all that I need. And same thing, what about for your kids? Is there a point that you say, you know what, they have enough and they need to figure out the rest of it themselves? And different families answer that question differently. I always tell people when we're walking through that is our job is not to be the lifestyle police. I'm not trying to tell you. I just want to ask you questions that cause you to think. I want to ask you questions that maybe challenge you a little bit to come up with a different answer. And so we're building the faith legacy and the family legacy. And as we're beginning to structure that, answers start to come out that change what they're doing financially. So along the way, we're looking at and say, okay, so what are you doing currently financially? If we just look at your current plan, let's talk to your CPA, let's talk to your attorney, let's talk to your money manager. We call ourselves a legacy strategy consultant. That's the name of what we do. But let's talk to all of your professionals and look at what is happening. And many times after we've asked them all of these questions and shown them what's going to happen, I would tell you 95% of the time, the answer is one of two. That's not what I thought was going to happen. And or that's not what I want to have happen. And so then what our team has an expertise in doing is I've got staff members that have tax expertise and legal expertise on staff, as well as, we've got different staff members that also have expertise on working with the family side. And so we will bring in the team members that are needed, but we'll begin to do a financial analysis as well that looks at it from the new perspective of the answers that have flown out of the the first 2 legacies, and it changes the financial legacy. And then again, work with their existing professionals, work with their existing CPA and their attorney and their money manager and their insurance agent. Just say, hey, guys, this is what the family said they want to do. We believe this is the most efficient path to get them there. Do we all agree, or are there some changes? And so we're trying to encourage collaboration. I don't know what your experience has been. My experience is a lot of these wealthy families, if there's any collaboration going on, it has to do because somebody in the family decided to pull everyone together. It's not because the professionals are working together. So that's another. Yeah, I agree. Yep. That's number one of our main goals, is to get everybody working on the same page. And then the other thing I like to say is we try and make everybody on the team look really, really smart. Right? How can I make you look really good? I mean, it was fun yesterday. We were sitting down I was in Indianapolis sitting down with a client and visiting, and it was, I told him, I was like, I just want you to know you've got a really good money manager. I said, I'm really impressed. I mean, he's got other good professionals as well, but that's what we want to do. We want to make the rest of the team look really good, but get everybody collaborating together for the best outcome for the family.
Absolutely. Well, very good. So definitely make sure to check out Eric's article. And then, how do people find out about you? How do they find out about your book, your company, and so on?
Yeah, so we are at www.paradiem, paradiem.org. I'm on LinkedIn, Eric Dunavant. I'm probably not going to accept your friend request on Facebook, so let me be careful about that. At Paradiem US on Twitter. There's a band out of New England that won't give up the regular Paradiem name, so we couldn't get that one. And then my book is available on Amazon. I found the best way to search for it is search for "What If We've Been Doing It All Wrong," and it comes up there. And then give us a call at the office, send me an email, or reach me through our website. And
yeah, excellent. And we also have in the article itself, there's links to to get in touch with Eric and your bio, and a little more information about you, which is impressive, and all of that. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to talk a little bit more about your work. And I definitely tell people, make sure to read this article. And I love there's these 5 points to reevaluate your life that were really cool, I thought. So I just mentioned one, but read the article to get all 5 of them. But thank you so much. And I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. It was exciting to be with you today.
All right, thanks, Eric.
Yep.
If you're interested in passing your non-financial assets like your wisdom, your values, and your beliefs to your family and leaving a great impact on the world, make sure to grab a free subscription to our online magazine. Go to legacyartsmagazine.com and you'll see it there. In every issue, we interview fascinating people about their legacies, from Fortune 500 CEOs to artists to philanthropic leaders to best-selling authors. We also offer tips, guidance, and strategies for developing an excellent legacy of your own.